welcome to another episode of the Forgotten Athlete Podcast with your host Joseph. Thank you for tuning in. Another Monday, Labor Day off today. Shout out to not working retail anymore, where I can. Sorry, let me take my hood off. Where I don't have to work on holidays. Thank the Lord. But if you are working retail, shout out to you. I've been there before, for a long time. I miss it. I miss working retail. I miss talking to people on a daily, person to person. I miss the interactions. I miss developing people as a leader. I miss just just that store environment you get. You get the same customers. Like for example, I had this guy. He was 95 or 96, and I worked at the same store for like 2 years, and he came into the store every single month, once a month, to pay his bill, and he always paid with a check. And we'd always tell him like, hey dude, like, you don't need to write checks anymore. This is not 1970. And he was like, back in my day we always used to write checks, and that's how you keep checks and balances. That's how you balance out your checkbook. It's like, you guys probably don't even know how to balance out a checkbook, do you? And I was like, no sir, I don't actually. And yeah, man, so I mean, he was really good at hockey. I even looked him up. He went to the University of Minnesota. He was like all state national player of the year at hockey and all this stuff at the University of Minnesota. This guy was like super good. And yeah, man, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but I'm not gonna say his name. I forgot his name. But either way, man, that guy, shout out to him. But yeah, man, we got a lot of topics to talk about. I got to start doing more than one podcast a week. Just because like there's so many news stories coming out. I mean, like Friday, Russell Wilson's contract came out, and then Donovan Mitchell trade happened. So like I was going to record a podcast, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna start next week to do multiple podcasts per week, just because we got the NFL season coming up, and I want to give you guys good quality, day to day, not day to day, but I want to give you good quality content and not just washed up content. Where Donovan Mitchell has already been talked about on like 20 different podcasts that you listen to, and then you listen to mine on Monday, which I appreciate. But you're like, oh, I've already heard this, or this is old news. Who cares about this anymore? So, I'm gonna start pushing out more content per week. I was trying to fit into my busy schedule, but we're hustlers at the end of the day, right? We want this to grow. Forgotten Athlete podcast people, supporters want this to grow. We want this to get bigger and bigger, and you got to put your head down sometimes, and that's what I intend on doing. Yeah, I mean, so on that same topic, I'm gonna so I don't want to say the name because I don't want people to steal it, but I also don't want to say the name because I don't know if it's out there already. So on Sundays, specifically on Sundays during the football season, regular season, not the playoffs, but during the football regular seasons, I will be having a Sunday session called Sunday NFL Service, which will be probably about a 20-minute, 25-minute segment in the morning every Sunday, just going over the week to week games that we have on the slate, talking about who's gonna win, predictions, talking about the stuff that that you want to hear about, news that day, breaking news that day, injury reports, stuff like that. So I'm not gonna go live or anything like that, but I will post the video, maybe have some guests on to kind of give you guys some other voices besides me, if you're tired of hearing about me. But yeah, so I'll be doing that this starting next Sunday. So I guess this coming up Sunday, first episode will be out there, but it'll be on the same platform, so you don't have to worry about switching to a different podcast, or subscribe to different podcasts. It's gonna be called Sunday NFL Service. I will be talking about just football. I mean, who doesn't love football? And with that being said, let's talk about what we got to talk about today, so we can get that out the way. I know some of you guys are probably not gonna listen to this probably until later this week, but if you listen to it today on Labor Day Sunday, I'm sorry, Labor Day Monday, I appreciate it. But got some topics to talk about today. Pulling on my phone real quick just to make sure that I'm starting on the right foot. And yes, I am. College football is back, and what a weekend we had. I mean, Saturday was great, Thursday was great, Friday was great. I mean, Sunday was great, and we got a game tonight too. Clemson versus Georgia Tech I believe I believe in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Chick-fil-A Bowl. I think that's where it's at. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So we got. I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, I could start because I mean I told you guys about UGA. I told everybody about UGA, and I got no one said anything indifferent, but people were like, dude, Alabama's gonna win it all this year. Like, and it was the way UGA just destroyed Oregon, the way that they just took Oregon out the gate, like from the get, I knew like this is the Georgia team that I expected seeing. Now I didn't see their defense playing as good as it is just because their defense was really bad in spring practice. Like I was telling my brother, and I was like, dude, like Georgia's really good this year. He's like, I don't. I was like, I told him like, I don't think you realize how good their offense is because I was saying like they're gonna drop 40 on these guys. I knew it. Like I told him like they might average 40 plus points per game because their offense is really good. Stetson Bennett's in his second year in this offense. He is he made some dime throws. Like he could be a Heisman candidate. I didn't say this before, but after watching that game and seeing the passes he took, he could be a Heisman candidate. And they have a 6'7", 270-pound tight end. And this guy's just hurtling over people. He's like an offensive lineman or a defensive end coming at you, but he got the ball. Now he does have some dropping, tendencies where he can't catch the ball at times, but I mean, other than that, the dude's gonna be a freaking I don't know about an all pro tight end, NFL tight end, but he's gonna be a pro tight end for sure. Like he's gonna have a long career in the NFL. And then they have my boy Bowers with number 19, who I need to get his jersey because he's from Napa, California, and I want to rock that dude's jersey just because I'm a big supporter. Pause. But yeah, man, the dude's a baller, man. I mean, and then you got AD Mitchell, who I mean, he made a fantastic catch that no one's really talking about because they won 49-3. And then you got I always forget I always forget the running back's name. Starts with an M. It'll come to me, but you got him. Then you got the other running back from from I think he's from California or Vegas, one of those two places. I mean, their just team is so stacked. I mean, and then you got the defense. I even talk about the defense. I got the freshman cornerback starting. Dude gets the I mean the best interception we've seen. I mean, I would say since Antonio Cromartie one-handed catch. I mean, it was an acrobatic catch, crazy catch. I mean, but I don't know, man. UGA is just different. I mean, I told you guys to expect this, and I hope people listen to me just because, like, I mean, this team is NFL talent ready, like everywhere, every position. They have someone who can play in the NFL, and it's just you don't get that a lot in college football. Usually, you only get that with Alabama, but now Georgia's in that category. With that being said, man, college football is back, and between Bryce Young, between uh Anthony Richardson, between who else? There's so many, Bijan Robinson, CJ Stroud, he struggled, but he showed up in the second half. There were so many games this weekend that were really good. Now, but the game that I want to talk about is I'm sorry, not Notre Dame, the Florida State versus LSU. And that was why we love college football. That game was like insanity. Like it was crazy from the start to the finish. Started off kind of slow, and then the fireworks happened, fumbles after fumble, and I will pause for a minute on the Florida State game. There's a lot of fumbles this weekend, a lot of missed tackles, and you expect that on week 1, week 2, and at least until week 3, and then after week 3, you get a lot of form tackling happening in the across the football world. But this was just a crazy game. I mean, the missed extra point at the end, the out of bounds, but he got the first down, so we get to stop the clock. The fumble at the other yard on the opposing side from Florida State on third down, doing a pitch on third down. Like, why are you running a pitch on third down with the lead? Just, I mean, worst case scenario, you don't get the touchdown. You could just knee it out. You could just knee it. Just kick the field goal, you go up 10. It's easy as that. But I mean, that game was crazy. Driving 99 yards from Jaden Daniels, who has struggled all season. I mean, has struggled all year or all game. Sorry, excuse me. But I want to stop there and just talk about Jaden Daniels for a minute because I do think he's probably going to get that job taken from him if he continues to play. The receiver did not like playing with him. Body language is just bad from all the receivers, especially Butte, who I love at LSU, and he did not look like himself last night. He just didn't. And I think Jaden Daniels has a lot to do with that. and you got to instill confidence in your guys. You just have to, and you can't just run around run around the pocket and run every single time you drop back because let's be honest. You may get first downs, you may get 15-yard gains, you may get 100-yard rushing, but at the end of the day, are you going to win the game? Chances are no. You're not Lamar Jackson speed. You're not Cam Newton. You're not any of that. So you got to sling the ball. You got to trust receivers. And this is my one knock. Oh, well, multiple knocks, but one knock in particular with Jaden Daniels is that he hasn't learned anything since his freshman year of football. And you credit some of that to him, but you also credit a lot of that to the coaching that he's had. He had Herm Edwards and he had Marvin Lewis. He had a lot of NFL coaches in his background in Arizona State, and I feel like he didn't learn anything from them at all. And that leads me to understand that what does Herm Edwards do at Arizona State? And then you look at the pros that are in the NFL at from Arizona State that have been under Herm Edwards, and Benjamin, who else? Not Brandon Ayuk. What's his name? The guy from Nikhil Harry. So I mean, you look at a lot of guys who went to ACSU and they're struggling. And they struggle to get to they struggle their early years on in NFL. And I mean, if you're an NFL coach, you should be preparing your players to play in the NFL. So when they go to the NFL, they can adapt easily. It doesn't seem like that's happening at Arizona State. All right, but back to Jaden Daniels being an underperformer, and this is just what he is, and this is who he is as a quarterback. I love him as a kid. He's a great guy, great kid. I've seen a lot of his press conferences, seen what he does for the community and whatnot, especially at Arizona State. And I hate to say anything negative about him because he's just a good person. But at the end of the day, you got to develop, and you got to develop into a better quarterback, into a better passer. And he hasn't done that. He made some great throws yesterday, and he hesitated at times when he should have just thrown the ball. Like Butte was wide open for a touchdown, and with Butte's speed and his athleticism, he could have got that touchdown, and he just didn't pass it to him. You got to trust your players, you got to trust the receivers. Otherwise, the receivers aren't going to run hard. They're not. Like I used to be a receiver in high school, and my quarterback was not the best quarterback, and there were times where I stopped running routes because I'm not getting the ball. Like why? And he gets sacked or he fumbles the ball, or he throws a pick, to somebody else. And when you're a receiver, you need confidence. You need confidence in your quarterback, but you also need the confidence in yourself. And once you lose confidence in your quarter, you start dropping balls. Or sorry, once you lose confidence in your quarterback, you start dropping balls. You start doing all this stuff that Butte was doing last night. And unfortunately, they lost the game. But that wasn't the reason they lost the game. They lost the game because of Brian Kelly has no hold on this team at all. Like this team does not respect him at all. Like the same mistakes they were doing last year, they're doing again this year. And it's worse. They had targeting, they had unnecessary roughness penalty, they had holding penalty, they had false start penalty. Every penalty you could imagine, they had pass interference penalty. Any penalty you could imagine, they had last night. And that's just due to the lack of coaching that's being done, the lack of expectations that you place as a coach. Brian Kelly, he should have cleaned that up from the get-go. And Brian Kelly reminds me a lot of Mike McCarthy. He does. And he's like the NCAA version of Mike McCarthy. Had success, somewhere for a long time at one place. Didn't win a championship or anything like that, although Mike McCarthy did. Didn't win a championship at all, at Notre Dame or Cincinnati. But he's a successful coach. He gets jobs. And he gets head coaching jobs. And to his credit, he has a great, I guess backstory, and he carries himself pretty confidently. But the way he talks about his players to the media, it just throws me off. Like this is a new generation. You can't do that stuff that you're doing 20 years ago, talking to your players and whatnot. These are a new generation. The kids are a lot more sensitive. They have social media. Players, Twitter, they got regular Twitter followers or handlers, making fun of them. Now their coaches making fun of them. I want to quote something that the coach said after halftime, coming out of the locker room, and he said, what did he say? He said, "We can't play any worse than that. I don't think. It's my first game. Maybe we can." Like those are things that you don't say to your, about your team publicly. Now, if you want to say that privately about your, to your team, then go ahead and say it. But I'm not gonna send my kid to a school where he's saying those type of things about my players publicly. So what is he saying in private? You know what I'm saying? And giving this guy $100 million over 10 years was just not the right move by LSU. It just wasn't. You go from Coach O, who players loved, who just won you guys a national championship. Although there was some heavy accusations on some weird stuff going on under him, he was successful, and players like playing with him. Now he did lose control of his players towards that final season and whatnot, and I think that was credit to the media already saying that Coach O was not going to be a coach anymore after this season. And it's just, you can see it. These guys do not like Coach Kelly. They just don't. They don't like Brian Kelly. And I don't know how hard it is, how hard it is to understand that, but they just don't like him. And I think they kind of underperform because of that. When you're not liking your leadership, you're not going to perform. All right, and then we got the college football playoff team. So playoff teams were announced. I'm sorry, playoff teams expansion was announced last year that they were going to expand this. The CFP committee we're going to expand college football playoffs to 8 games or 8 to 12 teams. They were like, hey, we're going to expand this probably by 2026. Friday night, a report came out, or was it Saturday? Something along the lines of last week, where a report was out that they are going to expand it to 12, and they're going to start it as soon as next season. And I think what this is going to do to college football is it's going to make it more relevant than it already is, right? It's going to make it more competitive than it already is. And it's going to allow for a lot of teams who didn't get, who lose 2 games in conference, like Ohio State, Michigan, who have to play each other, towards the end of the season, and that affects their football ranking. Or a team like USC, Notre Dame playing towards the end of the season, or a school, Alabama SEC championship game playing Georgia. Now, luckily, we have been able to, see Alabama and Georgia representing SEC. We're looking to see Georgia and Alabama represented in the college football playoffs the past couple of seasons. Alabama, obviously, since it's been started, but other than that, I mean, these schools that I think sometimes schools get overlooked just because of they got 2 losses in their conference, and sometimes you just gotta like you had a bad game, like you're allowed to have bad games, and right now, that is not allowed. I don't think, like every game you got to play good. Every game you got to beat your opponent by 50 points if you're favored by 50. And sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have off games, sometimes you drop balls and whatnot. So, you just got to prepare a lot more heavily now. But now that they're expanding it to 12 teams, I think it takes a foot off of these coaches. Like, coaches aren't pressured to, like, first off, go undefeated. Like, going undefeated is hard. Like, in any league, college football, college basketball, college, whatever the case may be, going undefeated is a super hard challenge. And when you have that as your expectations every year, it puts a toll on your program. It puts a toll on those players. Sometimes players are like, I just want to play football, man. I don't care about going undefeated. If we lose, we lose. Obviously I want to win every game, but that's not reality at times. And now these coaches have the ability to just coach, and not have to worry about going undefeated. It relieves some pressure from them, especially coaches who are like in like Texas A&M, for example. Great school, great program, high recruited class, but you got to play teams like Georgia. You got to play teams like I guess LSU when LSU was good. You got to play teams like Alabama, obviously. So, I mean, I think this is going to expand the playoffs even bigger. I think more SEC teams will be represented in the playoffs. Obviously, I think that you'll see Florida maybe in it, next couple of seasons. Maybe you even see what's the squad just named? Texas A&M in it. So at the end of the day, this is going to make college football better. I do think the SEC and the Big 12 and the Big 10 will be heavily represented in these playoffs, but we'll see, but I like it, and I'm excited about it, just because we get more football. I mean, I will never pry away from more football. I just won't. All right, man. Sunday service session. NFL's back. We can go there. Football etiquette on NFL Sunday. So this is for all the people who, listen. NFL Sunday's back. I don't really want to get into the Donovan Mitchell trade personally, just because I just love football. But let's go to the Donovan Mitchell trade, just because let's end on a good note. Donovan Mitchell gets traded to the Cavaliers. I'm not gonna say who was all involved in the trade, but it was marketing, 2 of the role players. One of the role player, Colin Sexton, and 3 first-round picks, 3 unprotected, first-round picks, and then 2 not protected first-round picks. Five in total, I believe the trade was, and this was a shot for Danny Ainge to get back at the Knicks because there's no way in heck that the trade offer that the Knicks offered him with Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, 5 first round picks, and a lot more other assets to the trade, that this trade was better than the Cavaliers trade. It just wasn't. And maybe he's betting on the Cavs to suck, but Danny Ainge is up to something. I don't know what it is yet. Like he's not keeping all these picks. He's just not. He's going to trade some of them, and we saw him do this in Boston, where he drafted Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then he traded picks for Kyrie Irving, traded picks for Kimbo, or I guess Kimbo Walker signed through free agency. But we've seen what he's done with picks and how he's developed a team like the Boston Celtics, to his credit. And now we get to see what he does in Utah. And Utah is going to struggle sometimes. But I mean, for the fans, I don't really like the idea of tanking. And I'm so mad at myself because I saw that like 2 months ago, the Jazz win loss total was like 45, and like I should have just hammered that just because like they're not going to win 45 games. They will be lucky to win 35 games. Like I don't think they're going to win that many games like next year. I think they're going to struggle a lot. But back to the trade, this is going to make the Cavaliers a lot better than they already are, because what happens a lot, and Ryan Russillo, he gave me this stat line, but the Cavaliers, they were like one of the lower. They had one of the lowest efficient offense efficiency ratings in the fourth quarter last season, and that was due to a lot because defenses were taking Darius Garland out the plays. They were doubling him, they were triple teaming him, and a lot of guys weren't making shots. Now you have Donovan Mitchell, so you really can't double team uh, Darius Garland anymore. You just can't. You don't have that ability to. And this is going to open up doors for Darius Garland. This is going to open up doors for guys like Evan Mobley, JaVale McGee, Jared Allen is going to be an impact player. Kevin Love, he's going to be an impact player. I think Cavs, like I said it on my Twitter, but Cavs are for sure top 5 Eastern Conference team. Like they're going to be competing for the number 1 seed next year, and I'm not saying that lightly. I believe that they can win 55 plus games next year. I just do. With the talent level that they have, the depth that they have, from their bench to their starters, they just have a great team. They just do. And I'm super excited to see what they do. On the flip side of that, the Utah Jazz, like I said, they're going to be a disaster next year. Do not look forward to watching the Jazz game. I never look forward to watching the Jazz play, but now I definitely don't look forward to watching the Jazz play. Yeah, man. But back to NFL's back. We got so like I said, I'll talk more about the NFL's game days before Sunday. Sorry, on Sunday. And then Thursday football, we have the Bills and the Rams. Matthew Stafford's looking like he's gonna play, and this is gonna be an exciting game. I'm so excited for football to be back because listen, man, life without football is like it's just the worst thing ever. It's undescribable. I don't know what life would be without football. Well, I do, and I don't want that. We need football all year round. I know we have the USFL, we have like AFL, we have all these other leagues, but nothing compares to the NFL and college football. It just doesn't. They're not in the same category. Now, what if we do this? College football, right, from January to August, right? I guess that's kind of too long, but you get what I'm saying. College football, making college football a winter sport, and then making NFL this, how it is, just because you can't change the NFL. But just a thought, just a thought. But NFL's back. You guys already know my Super Bowl, Vikings versus Chargers. I've been saying it since July, I guess, and I'm just super excited to see the Bills versus Rams play. I don't know who's gonna win this game. I think the Bills are gonna dominate personally, but at the end of the day, I could also see the Rams making it a close game, running the ball a lot, controlling the time possession because they don't want to get Josh Allen the ball. But it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a great game. I'm just super excited to have football back. I'm gonna, drink some Blue Moons. Hopefully I can get some, maybe get some ribs, maybe, grill them up. I was gonna grill today, but it's raining over here in Georgia, so can't grill today. So I'm gonna improvise and probably just, which just sounds horrible, but probably gonna bake some ribs because I bought like 2 slabs of ribs last night. And I just wanted to barbecue. And then weather report was like, oh my God, it's gonna rain for the next 6 days. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, man. with that being said, I'm out of here. I'm gonna start barbecuing up, or I guess cooking it up. Got some cream cheese pies to cook or to bake. Got some ribs to to barbecue and season and whatnot. And I'm ready to get this day started. Just saying, it's 11:48 here. If you've been listening to me for a long time, moved to Georgia recently, but or sorry, not moved, visiting my parents. But yeah, man, I'm super excited to be here, and I'm ready to go. But yeah, see you guys on Sunday. If not before then. So yeah, so like I said, I'll probably do a podcast on Wednesday, but for sure see you guys on Sunday, Sunday info service. So Monday, Wednesdays, and sorry, Sunday, Mondays, and Wednesdays will be my podcast dates. And then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, we'll see how everything goes. All right. Talk to you guys next time.